So today I'm going to talk about the number one danger of prolonged fasting, okay? And that danger would be this: you die, okay? I mean, unfortunately, you can't fast forever, right? At some point, you're going to run out of fat fuel and you're going to run out of muscle and organ fuel, because that is what happens after you do fasting. It turns into starvation once the muscles are being consumed for calories, and then there'll be a point where you just die. However, that's not going to happen to you, because I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, because on the flip side, there's no other action that you can do to create more health than prolonged fasting. So I'm going to show you how to do this safely. A couple other problems with fasting that people run into is that they may lose some muscle, okay? Or they may create nutritional deficiencies, because the purpose of eating is to not just get fuel, but to also supply all your nutrients. However, that's a really simple problem to overcome if you know what nutrients to take. But in this video, I want to talk more about protein, and specifically muscle protein, how to prevent the loss of your muscle while you do prolonged fasting. The question is, how do we get the benefits of improved immune system, or getting rid of cancer if we have cancer, or strengthening our brain, getting more cognitive function and elevated mood improvements, and getting rid of inflammatory conditions and degenerative conditions, as well as extending our life? And how do we do all that and retain our muscle protein? Now, the first thing you need to know is that the fatter you are, the longer you have the ability to eat yourself. And I'm talking about eating up your fat, your reserves. When you're doing prolonged fasting, you are living off your body tissue, specifically adipose tissue. And the more of that you have, the longer you can fast without any problems. Unfortunately, especially with people that have cancer that really want to do prolonged fasting for like 20 days or even 30 days, if they don't have enough fat, it becomes very difficult. However, I'm going to show you what I'm going to recommend. And today we're just going to answer a lot of questions. One question I'm just going to handle right from the very beginning is, can you gain muscle while you're doing fasting? Fasting is not the best strategy for building up your muscle mass, okay? Chances are you're not going to build too much muscle when you're fasting, even though growth hormone is going way up, because muscle growth is a reflection of more calories as well as exercise. And so if you're eating no calories, it's going to be very difficult to increase muscle mass. However, I'm more interested in preserving muscle mass, okay? And a couple things you need to know about preserving your muscle. Number one, the more you are into ketosis, the less muscle you're going to break down. So ketones prevent the breakdown of muscle tissue. That's one thing. The other thing that happens when you do fasting is you really spike growth hormone, and growth hormone also spares your muscle, okay? It prevents the loss of muscle. Muscle preservation is a survival action. So your body wants to preserve muscle, so it will go after other things first. And so this is a perfect bridge to this topic of autophagy. Autophagy is a condition in your body where your body is recycling old damaged proteins throughout the body, okay? Your muscle is not just protein. In fact, every single cell in your body contains some protein. You have skin, intestines, fascia, connective tissue, all of that is protein. And when you do prolonged fasting, you trigger autophagy. And so you're getting this recycling of this damaged protein into new amino acids. So there's a lot of benefits from autophagy, and one being getting rid of pathogens. So if you have viruses in your body that are just kind of lingering around, your body will take care of those and get rid of those. And so people have a concern about their muscles being eaten up from autophagy. But you have to realize that, like I said before, all cells are made from protein, skin, intestines. And so your muscles actually are going to be dining off of your skin cells and intestine cells, the damaged skin cells, the damaged connective tissue cells, maybe scar tissue that you had, or all of this damaged protein will be fed to your muscle before your muscle gives up its amino acids, which is a really cool thing. Now, as long as you have enough fat, your body is not going to tap into the muscle reserve of any significant amount. This video is not really about intermittent fasting. This is about prolonged fasting. So you're fasting 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, a month, okay? The question is, how do we make sure that we preserve our muscle? Especially if you are going into this prolonged fasting with atrophy, okay? Let's say you're menopausal and some of your muscles are atrophied, okay? Which looks very, very similar to fat. And you start doing long-term fasting. How do you deal with that? Because some of that muscle is also damaged. Now, this is what I recommend. Autophagy is inhibited by eating and eating protein especially, okay? But it goes on like a gradient type thing, right? So when you start eating less than 1,000 calories a day, you'll start triggering autophagy to a certain degree. And the less that you eat, the more autophagy you're going to trigger. So it really has to do with quantity or amounts of calories. And so you can induce autophagy or get the benefits even doing a low calorie type diet. It's called calorie restriction, okay? You can do that. But of course, you're going to get a little bit more benefits if you're doing just straight fasting with no calories. For the first 2 or 3 days, okay, 48 to 72 hours, I'm going to recommend not taking any type of protein or amino acid supplements. However, at the 4th day of fasting, you introduce amino acids. And here's why. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. And so by taking straight amino acids, it gives your body this already broken down building block that your tissues can start to use immediately. Your liver doesn't have to work to break it down. And when you take amino acids, there's very little calories, okay? But when you start the prolonged fasting, if you allow the body to clean up a lot of the old damaged proteins, then add the amino acids, let's say the 4th day, and then you start taking amino acids after that, you're consuming something that's very low calorie. Your muscles can then utilize these amino acids, and the other tissues can utilize these amino acids to prevent fatigue and to prevent any type of loss of any protein tissue from there on out. And at the same time, get all these wonderful benefits. The type of amino acid blend that I'm going to recommend, I put a link down below because this specific blend has been proven to be very effective, and it does not turn into sugar like a lot of other collagen type products or protein products do. So in other words, you want to use an amino acid blend that is very, very balanced. The next question is, should you exercise or not? Well, this all depends, again, on how much fat that you have as your reserve. And also, it depends on how adapted you are to fat. When you start ketosis and you're new to it, you can be in ketosis within 2 or 3 days, okay? But to be really fat adapted, that takes more like a month to 3 months, okay, where you are just burning fat like a machine. When your body is in that situation, you can handle a heavier workout, a more intense workout, because when you work out, you're going to be tapping into fat, not just your sugar reserves, your glycogen in your muscle and your liver, in which you would run out really quickly and then get really tired. So the more adapted you are, the more you're going to maintain your energy while exercising. And exercise as itself is a very potent stimulus of autophagy. And so you'll get a lot more benefits if you combine the exercise with prolonged fasting. But if you're not fully adapted, long walks would be totally fine and something I would recommend. And then the next question is supplements. What type of supplements should you be taking? Well, this is the list right here. Electrolytes, okay? Electrolyte powder, make sure you have electrolytes with enough potassium because our bodies require a lot of it. The B vitamins are very, very important. You may want to take nutritional yeast unfortified because that gives you the natural form of B vitamins. Sea salt, very important. No less than 1 teaspoon a day. A lot of people do not consume enough sea salt, and you're going to feel very weak when you do this process, especially your muscles, because of the sodium that's required that go along with these other electrolytes like potassium. You might want to take vitamin D. Better yet, get sun if you can. If you can't, take vitamin D. Simply because even though it's a fat-soluble vitamin, so many people are deficient in vitamin D going into it. And so fasting tends to aggravate this deficiency. The other thing I'm going to recommend is omega-3 fatty acids. A good source would be cod liver oil, because cod liver oil not only has omega-3 fatty acids, but it also has vitamin D as well as vitamin A. So you can actually kill 3 birds with 1 stone. I would also recommend a natural source of vitamin C and vitamin E if you're doing like maybe a week of fasting or longer, just because those are 2 other vitamins, like the water-soluble vitamin C, that's going to go through your body pretty quick. And we don't want you to start ending up with vitamin C deficiencies, as well as vitamin E deficiencies. And this way, you'll maintain your strength, you'll prevent nutritional deficiencies, you'll be able to even exercise, and you'll be able to get the benefits of weight loss too, and look healthy as you lose weight, as well as all the internal benefits that are occurring with this prolonged fast. Now, one last point about cancer. If you have cancer and you're doing this, I would try to go longer without taking the amino acids, simply because there are certain amino acids that can feed the cancer. So if you do a straight fast without the amino acids, I think you'll benefit greatly, unless you have certain symptoms like significant muscle loss, things like that. But overall, I would rather lose more weight and be very, very skinny and get rid of the cancer than be focused on, preventing that weight loss and end up dying from cancer. Prolonged fasting is hands down the best strategy of getting rid of cancer if you have cancer, even if it's stage 4. I've done videos on this. So realize that any negative effects from fasting don't even come close to the benefits of doing fasting for cancer. Now, I have another video on the details of how to do prolonged fasting and what to eat after you stop fasting. And check it out. I put it up right here.